Yo, what is up, guys? Joker bringing you another video for Path of Exile 2, bringing you my day 3 recap. So, like I mentioned in the last video, I was able to make it to mapping. We are currently a level 66 Pathfinder. We did just get to mapping. Since in the last video, I kind of showed how the character worked. Now I'm going to do more of the explaining how the character works as well as since I am in my base, it does definitely make it easier to kind of showcase my combo. So right now we're level 66. We have 1500 life. We have 21% fizz reduction from our armor. We have 68% evasion. We have some res. I really need to work on my fire res. And then we have life regen. Right now we have 35 essentially, but if I go ahead and if I'm on my concentrated ground and I have my stuff up, we get to about 150. So we do have an insane amount of regen. On top of that, if we go ahead and take a look at the passive tree, because we are taking leeching toxins, every time we kill a poisoned enemy, we recover 2% of our life, which is really, really good. So overall, we're good on sustain because my flask as well gain charges per second. It's just a affix that can roll on them. I would honestly recommend it because it does help. So go to the vendors that sell the flask. It's usually the vendor that sells like wands and staves is the one that sells flasks. Just buy any white flask that you see and then hit them with your augs and see if you can get it because it really does help. Passive charges are always nice, helps you stay alive. Other than that, looking at the passive tree, you're probably noticing something. Yes, I'm only ascended once, and this is essentially because I bricked my first tier 2 ascendancy challenge, right? It was an ultimatum, and I took some really bad modifiers and I died. That was back when I was like level 44, however, and now I'm level 66 and I have the invitations to run. I'm just lazy, right? I can do a temple trial of Sekimo, or I could do an ultimatum. I could do either of them, but I'm just lazy. Yeah, I haven't felt like going there, and I haven't really felt a need to because the character's been getting through the maps. I've been doing just fine. Other than that, on the tree, what we're mainly doing is grabbing all the invasion that we can. We're grabbing some pierce and then we're grabbing some chain, mainly because we're using poison prolif. We are shooting our arrows, and then 20% of the time, after it pierces through an enemy, if it hits a wall, it has a chance of bouncing back. And once again, poison prolif. So it's just mainly for clearing a ton of mobs at a time. Apart from that, we did make our way to building toxins and we got the additional poison. So now we are at 4 poisons. In the skill category, we're still only rocking 4 links because I have yet to find any of those jewelers that let me go to like a 5 link. And those actually are insanely expensive. So I haven't bothered saving up because I've just been crafting my own gear and slamming my own gear. For skills, we have our main clear skill, Poisonburst Arrow with Bursting Plague, Como this, and then Scatter Shot. Then we have Vine Arrow with Withering Touch, Font of Blood, and Culling Strike. This is literally just full utility, right? I dropped this for the Font of Life, the Culling Strike, and the Withering Touch. It's just a good utility skill, right? Because it applies debuffs, it heals me, and it calls the enemies. Then we have our Plague Bearer, which is linked with Vitality. This is how I have my like 40 passive life regen right now. And then we have Toxic Growth. This is like our main boss DPS because essentially how this works is we charge these full of poison and then they explode in an area around them. As you can see, stored poison grants up to 100% more explosion damage. It explodes in chaos damage, so it essentially poisons it puts some fat poisons on my enemies, and this is linked with corrosion to break their armor, which I'm really not even doing anything with that, so that's kind of a dead link. I could potentially change that. Then we have holy descent. This is giving us concentrated ground once again for that region, just in case I run out of flash charges. It gives me a way of recovering my life easily. Then we have deadly poison. I could move deadly poison onto my clear skill, but it's really not worth it, since what I'm doing is essentially dropping a bunch of pods around an enemy, and then I'm popping my plague bearer. And oh, of course, I don't have any charges right now. And it's poisoning all of these, giving them a lot of damage. So that's why it's where majority of my damage is coming from. And then lastly, we have Wind Dancer for the more evasion, as well as it knocks back enemies when they hit me. So if I get surrounded and I'm getting piled, one of them hits me, all of them get knocked back, I'm able to dodge roll out of the big pack of enemies. And then it's just tied to cannibalism. 4% of life recovered on kill while a supported skill is active. Once again, giving me some pretty massive sustain with leeching toxin, because that means I'm gaining 6% of my life back for every poisoned enemy that I kill. If we go ahead and take a look at our gear, the ring is the same, the amulet is the same, the other amulet, the other ring is the same, the belt is the same. Uh, these gloves are the same, and this bow is the same, right? We really didn't change that much, but the pieces that we did change actually are kind of a big deal, right? We went ahead and we got a new chest plate. It's an armor evasion base to give us some PDR, and it has 102 life and 52 spirit with 27 cold res and the increased armor and evasion, right? Plus, I have the 2 runes socketed into it for that extra res. This is how I have kind of so much res right now. Honestly, hindsight, I probably should have put soul cores in this, but I also totally don't want to do ultimatum. So, and this is just a placeholder, anyways, right? It's only in item level 55 body armor. So I'm going to be replacing it not soon, but indefinitely. Then we have our belt, which is literally just resistance and life. And I believe that's the same. I believe I said that's the same. We got some new boots. We found them in the shop. They had move speed and cold res. So I wriggled them and then I slammed them, and we got a little bit of res and stun threshold. I mean, I'm going to continue to slam these. Hopefully, we get life, because alternatively, the only other things that we can get really is going to be like the armor and evasion, right? I believe you can get. I'm not going to look on the wiki to see what can roll on them, but I believe life will be like one of the only things that can really roll on these. It's one of the only modifiers left. So we're going to keep slamming these and hopefully get life and armor evasion. And then we have our helmet, which I need to swap for an armor and evasion base. However, bases are kind of rare with good modifiers, right? I either have to find them in the shop, or they have to drop, or I have to try to craft them myself. So it dropped for me. So I put it on and it had the armor and the life. I slammed it and it got fire res. So that worked there. I put a cold rune in it for cold res. Then we have a quiver that I bought from Alva in at the end of Act 6. It had increased damage with bow skills and chance to pierce, as well as the implicit gain 2 life per enemy hit. Since I am piercing and ricocheting and I have arrows going all over the place, essentially, I am gaining a decent amount of life on hit from that as well. I'm going to continue to slam this, potentially slam this, and potentially slam the boots if I do not just find better items overall. Right now, the main thing that we're working on is we do have a better bow that we're trying to upgrade to, right? It is an advanced cultist bow instead of a regular cultist bow. In case you don't know, it's just a slightly higher level tier. It's a higher level base, right? So where it has the 41 to 69 chaos damage, and this has the 36 to 59. I'm going to be slamming this with every X I get going forward as a first thing. Indefinitely, because I'm trying to swap my bow because I have a level 33 bow. I want to swap that out. If I can go ahead and hit like percent fizz or something good on here, then this will be a massive upgrade. But that is pretty much it, I do believe. Is there anything else that I wanted? Was there anything else I wanted to cover? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with this and future content. And until next time, take care.